Hi, I'm Sean Foley here at the Core Junior Golf Academy in Orlando, Florida. I want to talk a little bit about injuries that I see on the practice tee. The last 16 years I've been teaching, you see there's a lot of different people who come, obviously with different body types, limitations. Some are strong, some are not, some are flexible, some are not. Some are in shape, some are out of shape. All of those people being in shape, out of shape, long arm, short arm, most all of them have some injury somewhere. The three major injuries that I've recognized since I've been teaching are in the lead foot for a right-handed golfer. That would be his left foot. And by foot, I mean pretty much everything connected in there, the foot, the ankle, what have you. The lead wrist, which is in a right-handed golfer, is the left wrist, which leads into the golf ball. And then pretty much the whole lower part of the spine, through the whole lumbar spine, generally on the trail side of a right-handed golfer. So on his right side as he comes into the golf ball. So just to start out and explain a little bit about the importance of that lead foot. I mean, that lead foot is incredibly important in the fact that when you get into your backswing, it has to be able to be in a position where we can load into it, because one, that's how the power is created, and then two, second, it's got to be posted into a position that we can move laterally into it and then turn. So the major flaw that I see that people have that affect this improperly is when they set up to the golf ball, they have their feet completely perpendicular to their target line, so at right angles. Now, the issue with that is that from that foot position, as we start to move this way and we start to internally rotate through this left hip and we start to turn in our pivot, we don't have enough openness in the foot to help with that range of motion, okay? So my advice to people, first off, starting, is with the foot, is just to make sure that it opens. And I've never measured it to a perfect degree, but it's opening at least 20 degrees, okay? So from that point, what that's going to allow, as we start to move laterally, it's going to allow us to get this thigh muscle on top of the shin, or get the femur on top of the tibia, and from that point, allow us more range of motion with our hip. And then from there, as we stand up into the finish, we can be in perfect balance. But you don't want to see a lot of movement in that left foot during your golf swing. So from that standpoint, into here, set up with the foot open. I'm moving into it, everything's on top of. Now as I stand up and turn, the foot still stays in a pretty stable position. So if you find when you're golfing that you can see the foot moving kind of all over the place in the backswing and then moving all over here in the through swing, you got to remember, you have your body mass going on top of it, okay? Then you have spikes that kind of have you into the ground stabilized. So if you get out of position for even a second and the swing's done too quick or in poor rhythm, you can really start to tear ligaments, tendons, end up with a lot of issues like plantar fasciitis and what have you. So another great drill, I would tell anyone to do this, is next time you go to the range, take off your shoes, and without hitting balls or with hitting balls, that's really here nor there, is I would like you to be in bare feet and really feeling as you're moving around, really trying to find the ground with the feet, really trying to feel that the feet are gripping the ground in that position. Okay, so you're finding a nice stable point and a stable base. And then from there is start swinging slow, start swinging nice and easy, all right, and feeling where you need to feel the balance through there. Okay, and this is all in bare feet, so your sequence is going to get better anyways, because you can't go to the top in bare feet and start really violently, because you're just going to spin out. So it's going to show you at that point, and the beauty of it, it's a great teacher. It's teaching many aspects of your swing. If I'm in bare feet and I go to the top here, I'm going to really have to sequence my arms down as I'm stabilizing into that left side. So that's going to give me the ability to hit the ball further, because I'll be hitting it from the inside. So if you look at most of the amateurs who have kind of the dreaded slice, you can always see that violent transition through here that without shoes on, they wouldn't be able to do that, okay? So that would be my focus for everyone. If you also want to strengthen the lead leg, I would hit balls where the ball's inside the left heel here, in this position here. So the ball's inside the left heel here. All right, now the right foot's up on the toe. All right, so from this angle, what you'll recognize or see is ball position's inside the left heel, and I'm just bracing for a little bit of balance with this right side. I don't want to have it just drop back behind me, because my right side's still got a pretty good grip with the ground. I want to get it to the point that I'm just kind of balancing on my left leg only and then hitting full shots And what will happen is the more you can do that, you'll strengthen all the muscles that are on top of the foot, as well as strengthen the ligaments, tendons, everything that is interconnected to the foot. So over time, you'll find that you get more resilient to injury with that foot. Now, moving into the next point, an extremely important point, is obviously the injuries that occur in the lead wrist, okay? If you look at the range of motion in the wrist, it can move it moves up and down and moves sideways. This movement here is called supination. This movement here is called pronation. Now, the hinging up and down, that's just vertically. But basically, we don't really want to see, because the issue is the club's moving so fast on the outside, it's weighing something, it has momentum. The injury in the lead wrist comes from this look at impact, okay, where the right hand's overtaken the left, and now this is cupping. So what's happening is the club, even all the way up to a 7-iron, is moving at about 85 miles an hour. As soon as I lose the angles in through that position, that thing's starting to ascend. Now remember, it has momentum on its side, so what that's going to do is it's really going to put that wrist into an intense range of motion that over the time is going to affect ligaments, tendons, the bone, the cartilage, and all that. And we see a lot of, in the golf swing, as far as that lead hand, we see a lot of issues in the thumb, aka Paula Creamer, Anthony Kim. So my advice in a type of drill that I want you to do is to practice on getting set up just like you're in your normal setup, and then really feeling as you get ready to kind of mimic impact, is that all the weight's moving forward onto your left side, that this upper center here is moving with it, and then from that position the hands are really far ahead. So you're in this position through here, okay? So as you're swinging and you're hitting and you get into that compression angle, not only one is this going to help you avoid injury, but two, it's going to increase how solid you hit it, and also how straight you hit it, and the distance you hit it. Most of those injuries that are happening in people, they're not really occurring as in a causal situation. It's all effect of something that's happening. So if you can get the proper sequencing of the lower body, the upper body, moving onto the left side, the point at impact is about 90% of the weight's forward, but really feel like you're leaning that shaft towards the target. Because what happens now is the wrist is in a firm position, okay? It's got the forearm on top of it, the tricep, and then even the shoulder muscles. So from there, as the club keeps going through and we're in that point, there's not going to be such a great collapse in that hand angle. And then, like I said, the over range of motion in the wrist that's going to be lengthening it, shortening it, and basically tearing it up. So that's a really easy way to do it. Now, another good way to practice that is just to hit 30 and 40-yard shots. When you get back into it, you know that the handle's leading. The second way you can do it is you can fill up a pillowcase with some damp towels from home, all right, and making nice and easy swings to whereas when you hit that pillowcase, that handle's still leading. And what it's going to do for you is it's going to kind of recreate an impact into a heavier object, and all the pressure you put on the bag is going to really help to build in these kind of memories through here into the wrist and the body position. And the last thing that you can do, okay, is just to start to, because it's in the lead wrist, is just start making swings nice and easy with the left hand alone, okay? And you can increase with the rate of speed that you do it at, but the whole focus when doing this is to feel like the club's constantly staying light, okay? And I know at this point that if I do the wrong thing with my left wrist as I come through here, it's not light anymore, okay? And that actually hurt. And then finally, the last point about overuse injuries in golf, as many people are watching this can tend to, is lower back. And when we talk about the lower back, we're talking really for the most part about the lower right side region. Now, the golf swing isn't really, we weren't designed to rotate at a great speed while trying to hit an object in that direction. And what you're dealing with when it comes to the lower back is there's three body planes that we have. We have flexion and extension, okay, and that's called a sagittal plane. So standing up or bending over. We have a transverse plane, which is rotation, okay, and then we have a frontal plane, which is side bending this way and this way. So where most of the issue happens in the golf swing is when people are in a side bend this way, but also rotating. So what happens is, one, all the mass is getting stuck on that side, and then you're turning through it. And the fact is, we're not supposed to be turning through that lower part of our spine. All the rotation in the body comes from the thoracic spine, which is kind of your mid-spine region. So from about here to here, all right? The lumbar area starts from here down. So there's a lot of compressive forces, there's a lot of friction, a lot of load on that spine. So really one of the simple ways, or a couple of the simple tips that you can do to stop having that happen is one, when we set up here, if we get into excessive head movement off the golf ball, what we're doing is we're actually increasing that flexion. We're increasing how bent over we are, okay? So it looks like this is getting really long here, but I'm increasing that side tilt. Now from here, if I just went forward with my legs, you can automatically see I'm stuck there. So a really easy way to do it is get into position to get the spine into extension, so we're starting to get longer through that point, taking the pressure off of it. And like I said, the head from here shouldn't move anywhere. So if the head stays nice and still, might rotate a little bit, that's now allowing us to be into a position where we're actually almost standing up through that point. Now from there, it's a function of getting the mass of the body going in the right direction. If there's more mass behind the golf ball, there's going to be back issues, okay? If the mass can be on top of the golf ball, so there's, in that position I'm there, okay, from here, all I have to do is I rotate to the top, head doesn't move. Now from here, upper body, lower body go together, get it to where there's 90% of the weight on that side. I'm still pushing off my right side, but now I'm going to point from here that this leg is loaded, this glute is loaded. The next natural instinct of the body from here is to stand up, all right? So as we stand up, we push the hips out of their tilt, and once we push the hips out of our tilt, it gives our ability for our pelvis to keep moving. So we stand, and rather than, as so many people teach and talk about, is really staying in your posture. I mean, that's basically an absolute perfect recipe to destroy your back, okay? I appreciate that you have to stay in your spine angle, but posture throughout, in through here, I don't agree with at all. So as you're in here, you're loading, everything's moving on top of that left side. You're now into that point where you can move into extension. The body stands up, the hips come out of this angled tilt, whereas they're moving up, and now we can keep turning. So a really simple way to do it, practicing at home, is to think if you were 6 feet tall and set up your 5'9", okay, is to get to where you're 5'8", into the golf ball you're 5'7", and into the through swing you're 6'2". So if you take that simple point right there, you're going to, one, create less injury in the foot, less injury in the wrist, you're going to have less injury in the back, and in doing so, if you can do all those three things, you're going to hit it further, you're going to hit it straighter, and you're going to shoot better scores and not have to take Advil on the first tee every day.